Hello, my name is Tanaya Petram, and this is my review over the movie The Age of Shadows. The Age of Shadows film is a fictional period action thriller piece released in 2016 by the Warner Bros. It was directed by Kim Jee-woon and written by Lee Jimin and Park Jong-dae. This film itself has received critical acclaim and generally favorable reviews for its fun action scenes and patriotic drama, notably including real-life political figures such as Kim Won-bin and the heroic corps. But before we get into the film itself, it's important that we understand the Korean history tied to the Age of Shadows in order to fully grasp its impact on the Korean citizens and the story itself. This film takes place in the 1920s and is centered around the Korean activists and their attempt to smuggle explosives in order to destroy Japanese-controlled facilities. This directly ties to the reality of Korea in the 1920s, where several bombings, espionages, and underground resistance groups were active in defiance towards the Japanese colonial rule that officially began in 1910. This came after years of Japanese influence in the Joseon dynasty that eventually led to the Japan-Korean Annexation Treaty that officially made Korea a colony of Japan. Shortly after, in 1919, came the March 1st movement, where millions of Koreans participated in peaceful demonstrations demanding independence. However, Japan responded with mass arrest and violent repression that likely led to the sudden shift to more destructive methods of protest in the 1920s, where our film takes place. It's important to note that this date is still nationally recognized, called Samyeol in Korean, and celebrated as the Korean Independence Movement Day. Now moving forward, the key figures in this film are also drawn from real organizations and people. The Korean independence movement, as defined by Wikipedia, was a series of diplomatic and militant efforts to liberate the Korean peninsula from Japanese rule, and was established sometime after the March 1st protest. Later, that April 1919, the Provisional Government of the Republic of Korea, or KPG, was established in Shanghai, China, as a self-proclaimed government in exile. They chose Shanghai because it was an area outside of Japanese control for much of this period and would become a hub for the Korean revolutionaries going forward. Another important figure brought up in this film is Kim Won-bong, the creator of the heroic corps, Yorodan, also based in Shanghai as well as Beijing, and included many famous patriots like Kim Koo. Kim Won-bong is well known as an anarchist militant and politician who carried out a series of attacks against Japanese officials with his group. And now that we know a little bit more about the historical context behind this film, we can finally get into the plot of The Age of Shadows. The film follows Lee Jong-chol, a Korean police captain working for the Japanese colonial government, who is tasked with infiltrating the Korean independence movement. However, as he grows closer to the resistance leader Kim Woo-jin, Lee eventually finds himself torn between his job as a Japanese authority and his loyalty to his own nation. The movie centers on espionage, undercover operations, and psychological conflicts, rather than large-scale military operations. The resistant group seen throughout the film is directly inspired by the heroic corps, whose members attempt to smuggle explosives into Korea to use against the colonial government. Much of the tension stems from not knowing exactly who can be trusted, as it seems both sides have their own spies and informants. One of the film's biggest themes is moral ambiguity. As opposed to many other historical action films that have black and white depictions of heroes and villains, The Age of Shadows emphasizes the difficult choices many Koreans had to make under colonial rule, and Lee Jong-chol's struggle is a great portrayal of a Korean working for Japan while still feeling loyalty to their own nation. Now, I think this was a great movie all in all, and definitely one of my favorites from the list I've been given to watch. I think there was a great balance between the action, suspenseful scenes and the calm, more psychologically damning ones. The cinematography was amazing, and of course the acting was as well. On a side note, if you didn't catch it, the two lead actors are Song Gong-ho, who plays the protagonist's father in the popular Korean movie Parasite, and Gong Yoo, who's famous for his role in Train to Busan and other popular K-dramas. So recognizing their faces was also pretty cool to me. But overall, I think what stood out to me the most in this film, as I had mentioned in a discussion post related to the movie, was its focus on trust and loyalty. As I've noted, this film relies heavily on internal conflicts from the characters as opposed to a ton of action-filled ones. That made it stand out amongst the other movies I'd watched. To me, I found this rather meaningful because it really showed how Koreans during this period were first forced into these morally difficult situations between survival and patriotism. The Age of Shadows left a burning question in my head after I completed the film that I'm sure many other viewers also thought. That is, what would I do if I was in a similar situation? Which may not be as easy to answer when taking into consideration the country you were born in and the political state of the world right now. So I'll leave that for you guys to answer, and I encourage, if you haven't already, to give the film a watch and let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching my video over the Korean film, The Age of Shadows.